Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Punk Rock Review, home of a bunch of opinionated crap you don't care about, also the home to feedback you provide that we don't care about, keeps us on an even playing field, and we like that. Real quick shout out to our sponsor. We don't have one. Feel bad and give us money. Anyhow, moving straight into it today, after we put our credentials up, obviously. Today we are talking about the one and only First Thoughts and Impressions on Forspoken. That's right, so Forspoken, man, you can find this one on the ps5 as this is, and I don't know, maybe it's going to PC one day or is already. Who cares? It doesn't matter. It's probably just on the ps5. It doesn't matter. Who cares? But of course, Forspoken, what can be said about this one? Well, man, this one, it's unfortunate. Because this is one of those cases and scenarios, man, where you have a very talented team of folks that got together and actually worked on the gameplay aspects of this one, worked on the mechanics, worked on the movement, worked on the characters, worked on even the world and things of that nature. That was just totally kind of screwed over by whoever their co-workers or colleagues were at the studio, making decisions, man, on the actual characters themselves, on the story, on the plot, on the timeline of events that unfold, man, and it really is unfortunate because there are so many aspects about this game that inherently are good. The combat is inherently pretty damn good. A couple things that could be worked on or perfected here and there, but, you know, yeah, the combat inherently is pretty good. The movement is fair. The movement is fairly concise. It could be better in, again, some areas and stuff. It's not perfect, but there's a lot of stuff that those aspects and graphically, they do very well in putting it together. Where this game really falls, in its rankings and its, systems and everything about it, man, is in its story and character kind of choice and, kind of customization and actions that, are inherently gone. The entire prologue, the entire first scene, that thing needs to just be scrapped. That has no business in this game at all. It actually detracts and makes it worse. The gameplay is crap. The storyline is super crap. The acting and dialogue are crap. Man, even the gameplay in those segments is crap. There's, minimal interactivity with the environment and stuff. It's really just kind of a tutorial aspect that's coded in some really, really bad story writing and everything that just, falls way by the wayside and needs to just be scrapped altogether. Shouldn't even be in the game. And it sucks because when you get to the combat-y aspect and whatnot, that's so solid. You would do better waking up from amnesia being like, oh man, you're a fucking superhero or some shit. Go attack the world. And we guarantee you that that game succeeds and does far better than what this one did out of the gates. And, spoiler for anyone who fucking cares. Forspoken story, man, where you start off in New York City or whatever, with X amount of variables going on in your life and you're in court and, things aren't working out. And it's like, oh, we're going to go easy on you because of your childhood that we're going to try and link back to this, original area and stuff like that, but you're such a rebel and here's some dirt to throw at a bad guy's face and you got away and forget seeking help from any place, ridiculous. You got a pet cat and you don't care about your money when your house is burning down and shit, even though it's literally in a fucking bag. I mean, there's so much wrong that this does in the first 15 minutes of gameplay, first 20 minutes of gameplay that just entirely derail the experience from the get-go. Then you mix into that the aspects that are inherently wrong with the stuff that they don't do so well, kind of the roundabout kind of world creation and fleshed out environment, man, when you finally get to the more city areas and stuff like that, and you progress the storyline and you're out of New York, which had no business. You shouldn't even start in New York, but you get to the city areas and they're lacking in their kind of environment and things of that nature. For story-wise written and whatnot, can be argued one way or another, but definitely they don't do it perfectly, and it's a very vanilla environment and such that you're kind of going around, whether by design intentional or accidental or just they did their best. It doesn't mesh well with trying to make the game something better, because there is, if you were to have scripted it entirely differently, there is franchise potential here that could go to a second game, a third game, and kind of bring about an entire Forspoken universe and whatnot, as far as what you can grow to, kind of do and move on to and progress and want to return to and things of that nature. But, you mix in the dialogue, you mix in poor, character choices and actions and things. You mix in a couple Bobo story arcs and points and whatnot, and you take all of the good that was the, just kind of combat and gameplay itself, and you just, add all of the shit to it, and man, it totally masks any fun experience that you might have. Eventually we got to the point in this one, man, where a couple few hours in, thinking like, man, we could really see ourselves going through this one all the way before we get distracted on another title and things of that nature, and we want to finish this one and such. But, you get to that point where it's like, man, really? I'm doing this shit again? Or, this just, is kind of a little bland as far as the same enemy type again and whatnot. Just kind of done with it and such. So you kind of move on and whatnot. And that's where this one kind of falls. There is some fun to be had there. There are some, aspects of it that work fairly well. But for our first thoughts and impressions, man, we doubt we're ever going to see this one come full circle to a final review and stuff on it. Who knows? Maybe one day, we'll be like, let's return to Forspoken. But right now, man, the last thing on our, list to do, the good aspects of anything that this game offers are far overshadowed by the aspects of what are presented to the player, and just making it a kind of not great experience overall. So if you can get it on a budget, man, $20 or less, I think we picked it up for 20 bones. That's at probably the higher end of what you want to acquire this one, man, but $10-15, man, there is some fun to be had there. $5 is probably a pretty good score, just to experience the graphics and a little bit of the gameplay and such. That is good when you get to it and whatnot. The prologue and all that, man, the New York stuff, the story, all of that's garbage, needs to be scrapped entirely. Probably get rid of a bunch of the dialogue too, and make some different movement options for the player during dialogue sequences. That would go a long way to, kind of advanced gameplay. You could even have the talking cuff man still be a character and such, but you just gotta approach it differently, man, than how you did, and unfortunately how the studio did in a whole. That was just some bad calls made by whoever's in charge of different stuff on it and whatnot, because they had some winning stuff there, and then they're like, hey, let's fuck this up. And that's what they did. Or it was already fucked up, and they're like, man, fuck, we got to add some good shit to this. At least, make some combat that kind of works or something. And they're like, okay, yeah, we can do that. But, you put that effort into the combat that really is fairly decent. Man, it really kind of makes everything else just look how poor and bad it is. So there you go. Forspoken, what can be said about this one? Gets a good old-fashioned F. Forspoken gets an F, because it's really not all that fun. It's a little fun at times. There is fun to be had. So there you go. That's it. Give us money. Have a good one. You probably didn't. We'll catch you next time. Probably won't.